outcome of that availability,
Okay.
um,
I can think of
which
a couple
is
of, oh, sorry.
the key piece. If House Leander has a vested interest in being the public face of we caught, that may that may be entirely fine by the eyes. Uh, but we would need to get those two factions together to broker that agreement.
Yes, and I'm perfectly happy if you want. Um, Lois, we can have that conversation together with the eyes if you like.
I I think it would be fantastic to uh, bring all four of us together at some opportunity to discuss what's there. Um, this and see if there's a you know mutual benefit. Um, that seems that seems a likely cause.
Agreed.
Before we lose track of it, uh, what are your thoughts on the secondary opportunity that has been presented to us?
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic.
You know, what kind of matches are they talking about? What are the eyes interested in?
They were very generic about what they were looking for. Any clandestine information, troop movements to, a ramp up in funding, any of the things that would indicate a ramp up to future immediate hostilities, I think is what they're after. Um,
I mean, there's no reason we don't say yes because if we have a piece of information we don't want them to have, we don't pass it to them, right? And it's probably going to be very useful to be able to pass them information at times. So that sounds like a way to be agreeable. I mean, I feel like, I mean, what does everyone else think?
By me.
What are we exactly is she asking us to do beyond basic information? Like,
I don't understand your question, so I can't answer with a degree of intelligence.
I'm so
Why don't
she's
you tell me
based
what you're worried about? Because you look worried. Are you worried?
Lois is Void
No, you.
No,
getting
Because,
to we're already dealing with competition among the dragon houses. Getting involved in competition between nations is a
inevitable.
true, but we can pace ourselves.
but we're not accepting a contract. We're not writing anything in stone. Basically, she's saying, hey, if you come to us with information, we'll have something for you. It is the opening of a friendship. It's we'd be silly to
If
say no.
Well, I'm not saying we say no. I'm just saying approach with caution. Say
What
if
and
we find anything, we'll
let
send you a letter.
let
There's
let me be infinitely more direct. I have every intention of snooping.
You know,
we
I like it, Lois.
I'm inquisitive by nature. I'm a reporter by trade. That means I'm a busybody. Someone has asked me, "Hey, would you be a busybody? And if you see something that is interesting, bring it by." I'm nosy by nature.
See, I love this for everyone.
there's also just the reality that diplomatically, the answer you say is always yes, even if in the end, if you ever do learn something, you just never tell them. Saying no is the worst answer. So just say yes.
Yeah, they are not we are not they are not obligating us. We are not obligated to say anything.
Absolutely.
Right now, it's perfect.
And if Ludwig, if there is a conflict of interest for you, given where we are, what types of information that we're going to be looking for, there is no need for you to necessarily be involved. I think it's important that you be informed so it doesn't feel like a sharp point to the kidney. So you're being informed.
I'm, uh,
If you have significant reservations, please feel free to put them out there. Because I'm happy to entertain them. I can't necessarily promise that I won't be nosy, but I might not have to share what I learn.
I'm I'm just cautious about outwardly potentially supporting one nation over another at this point in time.
That didn't sound outward
Well,
at all. Did I misunderstand? I didn't think we were
Outwardly,
like,
but not
yeah,
outwardly, but yet. But, but
yeah, I think no, I think it's a valid concern, Ludwig. I just think that that's a matter of how we present ourselves and our information and the way that we align ourselves. I don't necessarily know that that doesn't mean we shouldn't avail ourselves to the opportunity. It just means that we need to be careful about how we represent ourselves, as you said, outwardly.
Absolutely. And this is not a you know a a case of anything that is going to be public, but it is going to give us some potentially some chips at the political table, which would be useful for us to have. And we're going to
so
have to eventually collect chips from everybody or a number of everybody's um, to, if we want to remain truly neutral, we're going to need chips from every player at the table. And this isn't our first opportunity to get some chips from a place that has been at least reasonably hospitable to us at the onset.
I see.
Completely agreed, by the way. I think that even if, hypothetically speaking, in a perfect world, if we were able to be as completely neutral as possible in all affairs from now going forward, it still wouldn't be seen that way by every party with whom we interact. Um, if you think of the breakup of a marriage or a land dispute, those types of things that are mediated, somebody always walks away, not always, but in most cases, walks away from those mediations feeling dissatisfied, and that sometimes gets projected onto the mediator themselves. I think at some point, someone's disappointment in us is, as I believe Lois mentioned, inevitable. Um, I think it's more a matter not of the outcome, but of how we handle ourselves in presenting ourselves as being as um, neutral and reasonable and rational as possible. And Lois, by
Well,
the way, if you need a second set of fingers, please do let me know. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, I'm certain that I will. It's not my normal area of expertise. It is not beyond my scope of skill, but I'm mostly uh, I'm mostly an investigator. Uh, you know how how things work, what's connected to to where, that sort of thing.
Right after the
um,
longest
Uh,
carriage ride.
I'm sorry. Before we get there, I'll say, okay, we can tell. Okay, I'll agree, Lois. You tell the eyes here, the local set of eyes, that if we see something, we could let them know. We'll just start there.
And that's fine. And like I
And
said, I very much understand that that may present a conflict of interest for you. And if that's the case, then, be as involved or not as involved as you like.
all I would ask is that we all come to an agreement about something like that before pursuing it any further.
And uh, hence my bringing it up while we had an opportunity.
Lois,
Well,
I trust your judgment. Bring us
Thank you.
information as you feel it appropriate.
I agree. And Holden, by the way, could I ask a favor of you as we're pulling up to the manor?
They're
Holden,
sitting
can I ask?
outside the manor right
Holden, by the if I can ask a favor of you,
Sure.
is it possible if you had a time, could you come with me back here tonight, if the Baron agrees? I want a separate set of eyes to see what weaknesses this place might have in the dark.
Absolutely, happy to.
Thank you very much. I need a man of your particular skills. I open up the door and let everyone out. And help everyone out.
The House Orion carriage driver says, "It was very good having you on the carriage. Have a nice day."
Thank you. How much for the ride?
Oh, how about 1 gold? Yeah.
I give him 3.
Oh, so very generous. You want me to wait outside for all of you?
That would be nice.
Oh,
Is that okay?
I'll wait. I be carriage driver all day.
What is that accent, dude?
Don't you're insulting my accent.
I am not accepting accent. I'm just
I
curious.
am a pure blood Carnati.
Okay.
I am House Orion Carnati.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan Borat.
The
Okay.
fuck?
No,
Don't
just
you
what
know
I
my
sound.
name?
No, that's. Thank you.
Alright, I'll see you soon. You guys all step off and find yourselves outside of the Mordock Estate, also known as the House of the Butcher by people sort of whisper behind closed doors. The house is indeed guarded by Deneth defenders, who sort of open the door and let you in, like entering into a club in Sharn or something. You open up to see the house, the servants sort of running hither and yon, getting things all set up. The front is currently being organized at a very sort of like almost like a secretary's foyer almost. You get the sense there's going to be a lot of guests with a lot of people pointing in right directions with guest lists and coat racks and so on and so forth. And as the servants are making their way around, oh, by the way, your Fjarlin contact definitely came with you because he's going to provide introductions. Adrian is there. And he says, our good warlord host is just this way. Follow me. And he will make his way past the front foyer into a large hall, which you presume will be the sort of dance hall. This doesn't properly describe it, but you see this like massive, big, high-ceiling, beautiful ballroom with a crystal chandelier. Just the space being prepared for many people to come and dine. And standing in the middle of the room is a mountain of a human. In both broadness and height, he is bald with a large, bushy gray beard. You could just barely see a little bit of red at the tip of that big gray beard, stained red. And he wears a long red cloak with black filigree and wears very clearly, openly, and proudly a skull sigil, which is the symbol of the Blood of Full Faith, or one of them, on his sort of as like a brooch on his shoulder. Despite his massive, like strong, broad form, he is dressed as a gentleman of Karnath, and I will give you the handout now. He turns around, and he sort of smiles to see Caden enter, or excuse me, Adrian enter. Apologies, and he says, "Adrian, it's good. You have finally brought my mysterious house guests." And Adrian will say, "Allow me to introduce House Leora. House Leora meets Warlord Ron Ear Mordok of Karnath." And he'll look and see you, Mr. Nationalist Viceroy Ludwig, and he will say, "Oh, a Karnathi amongst you. I didn't expect that amongst people who are renowned for apparently their ability to speak." And he will put a bear-like hand out to shake yours.
Well, I first give him a salute of Baron, and then I shake his hand.
His title is Warlord, not Baron.
Warlord, sorry. God damn it, I've been a I say like, damn it, I've been in Bondir for so long. I apologize, and I've been.
He'll sort of spit on the floor beside him, and he says, "Soft, fabricy people. Is it true?"
Feels like they're great makers of wine. I can promise you that much.
Not much I learned. I've sacked enough of their villages. Now, who else do we have? Introduce me to your comrades.
This is I first step up to Viceroy. This is Viceroy Holden.
Nice to meet you.
Shake your hand. Big, strong grip that guy's got.
Anything else you want to say, Holden?
No.
This is Viceroy Loisana.
He'll bring a giant hand very down low for you, Lewis, to shake your hand.
Pleasure, sir.
Keep moving right along.
This is Viceroy Rowan.
Shake your hand, Rowan.
And finally, this is a very special man, Viceroy Cross.
And you're saying, "No, I see this is no man. This is very interesting." And he'll put a hand up to shake yours and say, "This is a Lord Forged."
I will offer my gnarled, burnt hand.
I say
have never. He'll speak to Cross directly and say, "Never heard of dragon marked Warforged."
First of my kind, Warlord.
Oh, credit to your race then. Interesting. Well, you've come to borrow my estate for the evening for your secret gathering, huh?
We are very thankful for your help, Warlord.
You are very welcome. So I expect you want to look around the place.
Yeah. Yes. I'll need a. It would also help if we had perhaps. He looks at the others, proper layouts, a blueprint, perhaps, to know if that.
Feel free to make one. I'm a little busy right now. I can go digging through city archives if you want, but like I said, I'm busy.
Feels like that.
Pen and paper. Now, you'll see this Warforged servant comes out with a pen and paper, and he will, and it'll be presented to the nearest person, whoever would wish to take it.
I will take it.
Right. So, and he gestures his arms, and he says, "This will be the ballroom. What do you think?"
Lovely and spacious, sir.
Good. Fine. Where do you want to go next? The drinking hall.
Yes, that would actually be a good place to go. Any disagreements?
No, that sounds lovely.
Fine, this way. He takes you into the dining hall, which is, well, the drinking hall, which probably was a dining hall at one point. this isn't a perfect one-to-one as far as like stylization goes, but it is a proper floor plan. Maybe it was like a long dining table at one point, but it's been since sort of repurposed to be a little bit more. It reminds you very much, Ludwig, of like it's like a stylized for the upper class barracks for like a Karnathi military thing. So it's kind of it's reminiscent of where like the main mess hall would be in a barracks, but again, it's been sort of pumped up stylistically for more noble tastes.
Okay, some extra like banners and stuff like that. I suppose.
Decoration,
New coat of
banners,
paint.
Yeah. It's got like a little sort of Karnathi military barracks flair to it, but it is very much meant for the noble. He looks around at the group and goes, "Huh?
Love. Interest. I must ask, how long has this house been in your family, Baron?
Many generations, many more than I think I could probably count." And that's a lot because I can count very high.
I look at the others.
I mean, if you want to make a blueprint of the place so you have a better understanding of it, I think that's a great idea.
I was actually going to hand this to Rowan because she's the more technical. She's the most technical.
Absolutely not.
Oh, never mind then.
Absolutely
Okay.
not. This is all you. But I think it's a great idea.
I go over to the bar and start drawing stuff down. I make a note of how many doors there are and what windows.
Yeah, we'll do a check at the very end to see how well you produce this map.
Okay.
And he says, he kind of like looks around at you as you all kind of stand in a group. He goes, "Okay, right, next room then." He'll keep taking you through. He'll show you the main foyer. I'll fast track it a little bit, but you guys tell me if there's anything you want to bring up to him.
Just as we're leaving, will that room or this one, the ballroom, be where the music and entertainment will be?
Music happens on the stage, and he points to the stage at the front of the room, which is currently being made proper. Goes, well, music in different parts, but up there.
Thank you.
And moving along, and he'll show you like various office spaces. He says, "This will be off limits to the guests. These are my private offices for stewards and such, and so don't mind these. But I'll show you around. I get security is very important."
Thank you. If I have permission, may I examine both of these rooms?
You may. I'm going to be locking the doors, but you and your kind are more than welcome to use these rooms if you need them. This is sort of, a meeting space.
Did you have any thoughts about where we might be having our secondary soiree at this event?
I see you like to jump right to the main course. I was going to save best for last, but we can go there now if you want.
That would be lovely. Do you have any other places that, as we are talking with the folks that we're liaisoning with, that are off limits, private, that sort of thing, so we can just make sure to steer them away?
Well, considering you're coming here with your own, currently unmade Dragon House, Marked House reputation, but you are coming with Fjarland's reputation behind you. So if you fuck with my house, that's going to look bad on Fjarland, which is then going to not be very helpful for you. So, with all that said, no, you can go pretty much wherever you want, unless I think of something, which I haven't yet. And I'm going to trust you and Fjarland that the house isn't going to be abused in this trust.
The safety of of you, the people, and of you, your servants, and all the guests is our top priority, as well as the well-being of your estate and your property.
I doubt that. Your concern is the security of your bidders and the security of your place where you're going to do the bidding. And yourselves, if I'm not mistaken.
That one goal does not negate the other.
If you mean that, Ludwig, that you truly intend to provide protection to all of his guests, go ahead and make a persuasion check.
I'll just roll.
Okay.
14, unnatural 20, and he unnatural, and Ludwig sees it as, well, I'm not going to let anyone get stabbed or something like that. If I see something bad happen, I will still got. If
well,
about
you
to
can, you can see it however you want. What you said is our priority is the protection of everybody, and one doesn't negate the other.
I will. I'm going to try using Gift of Gab.
Okay, sure.
Nice.
I'm not trying.
Yeah.
I'm going to try
Fair.
to back down from that.
Yeah. He goes like, he kind of leans back and he goes, "You're truly going to watch over all my guests. That's quite an exceptional expenditure." And you kind of looking around at your party and you're like, and you cast the spell and rewind it. Very good.
It doesn't say
so
that
you find you string. No, there's no saving throw. You just find yourself rewound back to him, essentially saying, "What you care about is your bidders and yourselves, and that's it." Yeah.
It was like warlord in Mordok element. We are a small house. We are still evolving, but we seek to make sure that feels like a rising tide lifts all ships.
What? He looks at Lois raising a hand. He goes, "Yeah, you. No.
Specifically, that's me, the player raising my hand.
Once
Ludwig is done doing what he needs to do in this space.
Sure.
Feels like we'll make a small disturbance. We don't wish to burden you, sir.
Good. Then I think it's about the right time to tell you as we're on the way to your special space, as he does begin to move you. But yes, let's, go ahead, Eric.
All of that commotion is going on. Lois is going to cast Locate Object.
Okay.
And she is looking for a lead box.
Interesting.
Oh, boy.
And I'm just going to, I'm small. I'm going to hang towards the back, so I kind of fade from direct, observance, because I'm kind of below the eye line. Fade to the back of the group as we are walking through to wherever he's taking us. Because the finding the lead box is, what does somebody want to hide?
The closest lead box that you find is coming from pointing in the direction of the offices that he was like, this will be off. This is not guests, but you guys can be there if you want.
And
as you continue to walk down the hall, that ping is going to change and go from pointing in there, because it points to the nearest one, and then it points to like up above you onto the second floor, as you begin to walk by it on the second floor. And you begin to quickly understand that there might be multiple ones inside of this house. The Crimson Butcher
that-
perhaps earned his reputation, and that reputation comes with secrets.
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic. So he begins to move, and the Crimson Butcher says, well, actually, he will take you over. So he brings you all to a staircase. He walks by this door and he goes, "Those are the kitchens. You're not going to need to go in there." And he takes you to a marble staircase, which does have a pathway that leads down. In which case, you guys are going to come to a walkway that leads into this chamber down here. You find a basement, which is a kind of like underground. It's kind of set up lavishly. There is like this underground like fountain thing going on. There's a big fireplace. He says, "This served a slightly different purpose, but I've brought some fine furniture down here for you in your meeting. I didn't know what you would need, so here, enjoy.
Oh,
Use the space as you want." And he looks at, and he sort of like elbows your Fjarlin escort, who kind of is knocked a little like onto his side foot. And he goes, "I know you, Mark Shadow types are good at changing spaces, so do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care." To which your escort, Adrian, does look at you all and he says, "It is true that if you want the space altered down here, I can provide the resources to make some physical illusions to make the space appear how you wish, as long as it's within the confines of the walls themselves."
And this is just an idea, could you, for example, create a wall between here over covering the entrance, make it seem like it's just a dead end, perhaps?
Because I can put up an illusion in the staircase to ensure only certain people may make passage to hide the downstairs. The Baron will say, "There is already a way of hiding it, but it is a bit of a process to put the wall down and pick it back up, so probably the best to drop an illusion."
Anyone else?
No, not at all.
Adrian says, "Don't worry about the details. I can handle making a subtle illusory diversion so that most people will not understand if there's any kind of entrance here."
I see.
The warlord is going to sit back and he says, "Well, now that we're in private quarters and we can speak perhaps a tiny bit more freely now that my servants aren't all around. Well," and Adrian looks a little like stressed out on his face, and the warlord sort of smirks at that, kind of enjoying it, and says, "Well, so as not to raise suspicion, I thought it best to hire my entertainment through proper Karnathi entertainment means, which is, of course, your adversary, isn't it, Adrian?" He goes, "The Crimson Butcher here has decided to hire the services of House Leora to be entertainment for the evening upstairs. I have asked perhaps there might be another option." And then Warlord Mordock says, "And I would remind what do you call yourself, Wraith? How unusual it would look if a man of my standard hired anything less than the best. So you're just going to have to work around it."
I see. How many musicians would be there, if I might ask?
Well, not just musicians. They have very exquisite dancers in their keep.
Dancers, musicians, singers, of course, so that's quite a few.
Not hiring any army, but they will be providing music and they will be providing dancers.
It feels like I see. Let's see.
Good. Now, do you all need a minute with the space to look around and decide what you want to do with it? Or I can get to my guests, and when you're ready, we can continue the tour, or what do you want?
Wait, Ryan, what was the first one he said?
He said, "Do you guys want to time down here to discuss or look around or whatever, and then you can find me later or continue the tour?
Will, shall we continue the tour or take a moment to speak?
I honestly think that the space looks perfectly acceptable as it is. If you feel that, having it, you know, terminate is a good security practice, that's fine. But as far as the internal layout for when we hold the auction, uh, I I think as is sufficient to the task. I wouldn't see the need to make any significant changes. We have places for people to sit and to carouse, and we can hold the auction however it is that we hold the actual auction. But it certainly looks well appointed, would be would be
Expected of us.
expected of the warlord and uh, uh,
And House Fiolan.
well, not so much of House Fjarlin, but of the situation and the guests that we are going to be entertaining. I think it's sufficient to the task.
Ron will sort of regard you and say, "Well, thank you for saying so. My family had a sterling reputation until I showed up."
And I'm certain that in certain circles it is even more highly polished than it was before, but not everybody can appreciate your zeal and prowess.
I like you. I like you. If you get sick of these people, maybe you come work for me.
Well, we can discuss a contract at a later point in time.
Sure, sure.
It certainly looks good enough for a guest of great importance to rest their feet for a while and wait before the proper timing begins.
He goes,
Shall
"Good
we?
enough. You mean exceptional."
It is remarkable.
I'm just fucking with you.
Thank you.
Don't piss yourself on my floor.
I was like, would never imagine it.
Mhm. All right, fine. Let's go continue the adventure.
And again, as we're moving on forward, because I got 10 minutes worth of concentration onto it.
Yeah.
I am going to fade to the back of the train of people, and I'm going to message Holden and say there is a safe in one of the front offices that we discussed, that we were shown. There's another one upstairs, directly above the southwest corner of the ballroom, wherever the ping came from.
Ooh, how delicious. Do you suppose that's where he keeps the deed to the land?
I'm certain that whatever skeletons that are in the closet are in those closets.
Never let it be said that I don't like a good skeleton.
All right. You guys return to your journey. You will see. I've got this thing all sliced up for easier reference. Yeah, that's pretty much the interior. He'll show you the backyard. And he's like, "This is where a lot of the entertaining will happen, the drinking, the dancing, the making out under the whatever those are called again." And yeah, feel free to look around, whatever. But second floor, right this way. He'll take you up to the second floor. And he'll say there will be some entertaining going on up here, but these are largely the rooms for my most auspicious guests who will be staying the evening. So I suppose these rooms should not be entered unless absolutely necessary. The balcony and the main central room here, those are all fine for you to be in right there. Obviously, the stairwell and the balcony. This is where I'll be entertaining guests of particular potential financial philanthropic support. So there's that. And as for the third floor, and he'll take you to the third floor, he'll open the door and he'll say, now in here, this room is going to be largely cleared out of papers. I'd suggest this is where you make your HQ for all of your dealings. If you don't want to do it in the auction room, I can make this available to you if you want. And there's also an armory here for my Denise defenders, which you are more than welcome to talk to about security matters regarding. They are all informed of what's going on, considering they were a part of your bid, technically. So, I think that's where we'll perhaps limit your going through, unless, of course, absolutely necessary. If you find your things have gotten out of control or you need to go check on something, then you may go in. But these are my records rooms and my offices, and I would appreciate them untouched. So there's something that I have thought of.
Dude, we had a little bit of uncertainty about the nature of your gala itself. Is it simply somewhat of a formal dinner? Obviously, there's going to be entertainment. What number of guests are we anticipating overall?
There's about 100 to 150 people on the guest list, including yourselves and the bidders, which your friend here has been so kind as to have sent to me, so I might have them added to the guest list. But considering the sneakiness of the situation, I'd be more than happy to send out a fun sort of spinning notice on what is to happen tomorrow evening and call it a masquerade, if that would make you more comfortable. I can't hear you, you person, human, not you human, the female human. Oh no, I still can't hear you. The silence is strong.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There.
Shit. All right. So that sounds like fun. The masquerade. That sounds like a fun thing to do.
Sure, yeah. It'll be a good way to hide, well, none of you are nationalists anymore, are you? Because of the Korth edicts, aren't you?
That is correct.
Yeah, so none of you have any sort of nationalistic loyalties whatsoever. And he looks pointedly at Ludwig, who's in Karnathi military attire. You are muted, also.
Oh, is he talking?
Again, sir. Could we also be provided a copy of the guest list?
Sure. He looks at you, Viceroy Holden. You were going to say something?
Oh, I was just saying that the masquerade doesn't sound like a bad idea at all. I'm sure that our bidders would not be opposed to a little bit of additional security amongst the crowd.
Well, that doesn't matter what your bidders want. What matters is what we want. We're the ones running this shindig. Aren't we?
We are. We want to make everyone happy.
Sure. But if you propose something fun and they turn their nose up at it, that's really on them, isn't it?
I agree.
Yes, Lois.
While this discussion is going on, since we're in this kind of main third floor room, Lois is going to kind of pace the perimeter, just kind of randomly look, but she's trying to ping locate where that second safe is. Was it on the second floor? Was it on the third floor? Is it in the verboten office suites to our left?
Absolutely. When you got to the second level, you would have pinged the chest somewhere in here, which, by the way, the Baron would have pointed out that's his room. Essentially, that's like his main room. So you would know that's where it is. But then you walk away and you've pinged some more upstairs. And then when you're brought upstairs, you would ping the other ones are coming from probably somewhere along this wall, so somewhere past this wall here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would note somewhat brazenly on the walls of this like main room, there are maps of Corvair with like little pin flags propped into it. One of them is of the Talenta Plains and the Mirar Hold, so it basically the lands east and south of Karnath, and then one that's very specifically on Dare, and it has different pins with different like number of flags on, like very clearly like flags of like tactical military targets are like very brazenly openly pinned on these maps of the two different the two sections of Corvair surrounding Karnath. So it seems that he's he's not hiding his interest in military targets in other nations.
This is a room that he said we would be allowed to make use of during the night of the gala, right?
Right.
All right, I'll take a look at that when we come back another time.
Got it. Is anyone looking at it while trying to remain discreet, or does anyone like openly like look at those and notice what they are?
I mean, I'd like to look at it discreetly as I
Make
can.
me a okay. You make me a stealth check to view it subtly.
Not 20, 21.
Oh wow.
Not 20. Luckily, your robotic eyes are harder to track than a normal person's eyes, and you are able to get a decent look at them without drawing too much attention. And yeah, they're military targets of the like you're not studying them in the stealthy way, like you're not going to commit to memory his pointed military targets and values and all of that, but you definitely notice what they are. So I will say Cross alone kind of understands what they are. The rest of you kind of are like, oh, okay, maps, whatever.
Well, Lois has got the keen mind feat, so I would take the time to do a bonus action for quick study.
Ooh, quick study, are you,
Because I want to match that with what was historically done versus future engagements.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Go ahead and make me additionally make me a. So I'll tell you what, because it's a bonus action and it's so quick, I will provide you advantage on one of the two rolls if you're going to commit this to memory. So
Okay.
I want a perception check and a stealth check. You may choose which one you want advantage on.
I'll take advantage on the stealth check.
Okay.
And I'm going to use inspiration because I want more on the perception check.
Fair enough.
That's a 16 on the perception check, and a 14 on the stealth check.
You get a decent look at them. You are able to commit to memory. The maps, what he has marked, and basically there's two different types of little like flags. One is like one triangle flag, and the other is like two triangle flags, and you can probably gather what that means. And you commit to memory in this moment what they are, and as you sort of like look back, you do see the warlord like looking at you as you look back. You feel a little like caught red-handed, and he just gives you a wink and moves on with his whatever he's doing. Doesn't seem to mind much that you're looking at them. Okay. He says, so, Are there any questions that you might have for me? Anything else that needs doing? You know where you're allowed to go, so if you want to wander, feel free to wander. I've got a lot to do. If you have any questions, come find me. I'll be on the first floor. And yeah.
We we thank you again. Thank you again, Warlord of Mordok.
All right. Well, I'll be going, and he will leave. Despite the map, there will be Deneth defenders on every floor. I think not really on this floor, however. You will see them occasionally come in and out of the armory, which is behind the metal iron doors. But they're not like actively posted up here on the third floor.
Okay.
It seems that he is leaving you in trust up here.
I'm going to find some blank paper and try and lay out like all the rooms and with all the notes I can. Like,
got it. So let's make that roll now and see how well Viceroy Ludwig is able to make basically a map.
okay.
Let's call this an investigation check. I think that makes most sense.
Okay.
Are you proficient with cartographer's tools?
I'm good with cooking utensils. I can cook up a good map.
Very funny, very funny. I'm not going to give you advantage for it, but that was a good joke. Go ahead and make an investigation. Just check to see how good of a map you make.
Okay. Three.
You've made a general.
Hold for 1 second. I need to check something about how this feature works.
Okay.
Made by me or a creature that I can see. I would like to grant Ludwig an 18 by portent.
Okay. Thank you.
Viceroy Loisana Civis de Leora. And whatever additional name we could throw in there. So Ludwig, how do I try and figure this out? So here's what I think happens is Lois, you in the morning received a vision that Ludwig would create this map, and it would basically be like a very crude summary of which room was next to which room, no measurements, probably keeping track of the desks and things after the fact, very crude. So you, during the process of this, kind of just like know where Ludwig is going to make a mistake or something he's going to miss, and the entire time you've just been kind of like nudging Ludwig in the knee and kind of like pointing somewhere, and Ludwig, strangely, the entire interaction you've been like, oh yeah, right. And thanks to Lois's just like seemingly perfect little interruptions of your drawing and like pointing little things out, you end up making like a fairly decent map. It has like, it's not going to be to measurement, not by any measure, because you're not a cartographer and you don't have the tools, but it is going to be a pretty decent layout of the place, spaciously from one room to the next. It's a decent floor plan for having made it on the fly.
Okay, good. I'll definitely begin to match this before we leave to make sure I got it exactly right. So
you will have got it as right as you can. You'll actually be probably pretty impressed with yourself and probably impressed with Lois's. Just, you don't know if it was just like she was just kind of being helpful at the right moments and just has a knack for it, or something else. This was probably just she got a knack for it.
good memory, Lois.
Well, it seemed important at the time, so
Important at the time.
I don't catch that. Ludwig does not catch that.
I know.
I'll I look to everyone else and say, well, and thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna have to figure out a costume, but
Oh, wait, the
that's
costumes, I
fine.
forgot. Wait, I need to get a costume. I don't think I've ever dressed up in a costume in my life.
It'll be good for you. Yeah, I probably should get to my weaver's tools.
Yeah, I think Ludwig, especially you, could try and figure out how. Because, like, you haven't attended noble galas and balls and whatever, and while Karnath is a very Prussian place, you do know the nobles kind of do dress up a bit, but you don't know how to balance the sort of, like, noble eccentricity of nobility and the sort of, like, simplistic militarism of. You're like,
Reflexive,
how does that
reflexive
work?
modesty.
Yeah, the you don't know how to balance like the modesty and sort of simpleness of Karnath versus ostentatious nobility. It's like, what do I do?
Yeah, I stick out like a sore thumb sometimes. Well, I could always, well, perhaps I could always dress as a servant. But yes, any thoughts about Thorani?
Yeah, we know they're going to be there. That makes it easy. We know for sure they're going to be there. That's fantastic. Great. Let's move on to the next thing. Ideally, we keep them
Adrian
contained. It might not be
says,
that easy.
Adrian says, honestly, if I might make a suggestion, we just don't tell any of the bidders. It sounds like you all have a lot going on with them. They're all trying to get an edge. I would hate for them to get any kind of ideas, you know?
Yeah, they're
I
trying to bribe
agree.
Thorani.
I agree.
The less they know, it's probably the better.
Thurani is a very delicate. It's a dangerous element. They could. We're doing this to try and make them look like fools. And to be clear, if we pull this off at a gala masquerade, right under their noses, more so than under their jurisdiction, but under their noses, it will look exceptionally well for Fjarl. And that's only because this will be of immense difficulty.
Okay.
Right.
What?
Perhaps it should be made clear to the bidders that they are not to speak to the people of Thurani about this, and if they do, perhaps there's some kind of punishment, maybe even disqualification, because they could really botch this for us, Thurani.
Would you want this to? You just.
This is your auction. I'm perhaps giving too much input at this point, but just I will hold back.
The one I'm deaf. We could go two routes. We could keep them completely in the dark, which is a gamble, or just warn them straight up. If any of you go to the House Thorani, you're out.
No.
No.
I mean, if I might be so bold, if we have a discussion with them, it ought to be phrased, in the we're aware that they're going to be there as they're going to be providing the entertainment. It is very likely that is not their only motive. And we let our bidders' need for anonymity drive the interaction that we want, which is them to avoid that interaction. We don't want to threaten them with a stick.
Also, when you say things, you tell people what you know, right? Like that whole conversation in the carriage really should have taken place behind closed doors because we now have to assume that dude from Orion heard every word we said.
No, you don't. You don't have to assume that. As we're in a closed carriage, the driver would have had no knowledge of it. It's very common to have a private conversation in carriage.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I specifically said that like you could speak privately within the carriage.
All right. Then I will retract that, but I will say when you stand up to draw a line, you show your hands. Like it could be just like easier to not say anything, right? Except,
I
hey,
agree with Rowan.
Yeah, like I really feel like this has nothing to do with us, so why add the complication? It doesn't have anything to do with us. We guard against it as we can subtly, but then we don't involve
No,
It's also
people
worth
further.
saying that it will be blatantly obvious that Thorani are there because the entertainers will be here. I also think that
Absolutely.
it is exceedingly obvious to anyone participating that Fiolan doesn't want them to know that this is happening because their relationship is pretty well known, I would think. Everyone there will already know more or less the stakes of the arrangement without being told, so just don't say anything.
So, the one I'm particularly worried about is all the finders. From what you've told us, Cross, they are desperate for an edge.
we just manage them.
Yeah,
We
leave it.
we liaise with them by sticking by them.
Like there's Beneath the Eyes, Lyrandor, East, West, and Finders. That's 6 of them, 5 of us. Adrian, would you be willing to help?
Well,
We
that is
don't
something I
need
wanted to.
any additional help.
Lodvig, if you don't mind, I actually think we have this under control, and I don't think that we need to guard against it any further than we already have. We have assignments already. There's no reason to abandon them.
Adrian does interrupt, and he says, I was going to say that House Fjarlin has indeed put some, well, the rank being known as shadows, basic agents, as it were. We do have a handful of agents on standby to be present here. I fully expected to have them here for security purposes. I was going to ask where you would like them.
Where would we like them? I think I'm not. How many would we have?
About a dozen.
A dozen. But
Any of the temporary staff? Because I'm assuming he is adding temporary staff to cover all of the guests. As far as food, drink, that sort of milling about, that would give them the freedom to move around. And when we get ready to have the event, they can keep an eye on the entrance to to that space to act as our forewarning.
The question is Thurani going to be suspicious of Elven graceful, as most of us tend to be in our profession, graceful Elven servants?
You're telling me that you can't be clumsy on demand?
It is difficult for an elf, but we can see if we can manage it.
Well, now that I think about it, I'm less worried about Thorani being the musicians for tomorrow night. We'll know exactly where they are. We should be concerned about where we don't know where someone might be.
We could have as an option, but I can certainly see that some of them are on the serving staff. We could have some stationed in the basement at all times, or to come there afterwards. Or I could have some of them put on the guest list under false names, under illusory disguise. Gives them the freedom to be about the ballroom.
That would be good. 2, I think. Here's my idea so far. 2 in the ballroom to keep an eye on everything. Perhaps 1 or 2 in the drinking lounge where everyone will be. We have a couple as guests, pose as guests, maybe 2 or more, pose as guests, and maybe keep an eye on on the people on our guest list, and we keep perhaps 2 down the safe room to make sure nothing is bothered by that. And do you have any objections to that idea?
If that's what you think is best, that's fine.
I will also remind, in case it is forgotten along the way, there will be a member of House Fjarlin, a very high-ranked member of Fjarlin, known as a Spectre, which is a higher rank than I, who has been assigned by House Fjarlin to remain in the shadows, but keep an eye on everything in case things get out of hand. So there will be at least one, shall we say, seated member of our people who will have an eye on everything to the best of his ability. Or her, or they.
Yes, Cross?
With all of this, you said yourself there's a ceasefire in place, so is the presence of your shadows seems almost moot, because should anything happen, you won't actually do anything, right? You can't lay a hand on each other, but the rest of us are fair game. You said yourself.
We can't kill each other. That doesn't mean we can't, apprehend each other, shall we say, or misdirect each other.
Mm.
We still compete. There's only so much we can expect of one another.
Yeah. All right. The Now that we know there's a specter observing us, a couple shadows, the danger is more to us. Isn't the potential physical danger isn't necessarily to Fionn, it's more towards even us more than the guests. I think the guests would probably be physically okay. I think it's more towards us that Thorani might pose the danger.
I would not rely on the Spectre. The Spectre has been told to hold back and keep an eye on things unless things truly get out of hand. Think of them more as a safeguard big brother on behalf of House Fjarlin, not something that you should all rely on.
Understood. I'll admit I'm also worried about specifically the garden. That's a rather large area, larger than the manor, seemingly filled with trees. It's easy for someone to hide. Pretty easy. Should be pretty easy to sneak in there.
That's what the Warlord's House Denise defenders are for. That's the whole purpose of having it here, is that the external security is being handled by somebody else, while we handle a much smaller scale security arrangement under the guise of obfuscation.
True.
Can there be people there? Yes. Is it going to be something that Denise is going to be on alert for? I'm thinking the answer is sure, you betcha.
Where would you all want to be during the gala?
I think the important question is where your defender is going to be during the gala.
We can't. Well, we could bring them in as we could get extra costumes. The costumes would help at least.
You could bring them in as a +1, but
no weapons.
They might draw attention if they are. If you bring a +1 and have a Deneth defender attached to you, it might draw attention.
Exactly. We could disguise them as independent guests as well as +1s of our own. It's fully possible.
I'll be bringing Kira as my +1. We're 2 gnomes. That would not be unseeming by any stretch of the imagination.
Very good.
We could do that. How do we want to handle the guests? that the objective isn't just to hurry them down below and into private quarters as quickly as possible. It's allow them to have a good time.
Ab-
Yes,
Absolutely. I'm assuming that there's going to be a feed and some drinks and some ballroom dancing and you know an hour into the gala or what have you, depending on what time it starts. If it starts at 8 o'clock and is going to run until whenever, then we shoot for maybe I have an above the table question.
Yeah.
Do they use do they use bells to sound the hour? Do they use candle, kind of marked candles to to tell the time? There's some method
Mhm.
that's used. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, we'll say they use a bell. I like the sound of that.
Okay. So, we, set it for, 11th bell. Uh,
Um,
we let them know we want to be in this general location, in the ballroom, and at the 11th bell we will escort them quietly out of the space, and it takes us half an hour to extricate them and get them to where we need to go. That's fine. Once everybody's into the auction space, then we can have the auction. And when we get done, they can return to the party unfettered and
so
do as they would do.
Adrian will say, and if you wish, the shadows present can be very discreet in informing the guests that the time has come to move into the basement, if that is to your preference.
That would be fantastic. That would be perfect.
that wouldn't be
Very well.
that would not be half bad.
I
Was that
would
cross?
posit that if we're looking to be as discreet as possible, that we have the movement staggered. If all of our guests
Yes,
move
yes.
at once, that's so obvious.
Understood.
Yeah. We call them in one by one. Do you want to advise them to stay within the manor? Maybe not go outside?
I
Or
don't
was that
see any reason to restrict their movement. That would make them seem unusual. Let them behave as guests would behave. Don't try to
Well,
prescribe them beyond, at that 11th bell, there is going to be a need to move, to the ballroom, and then we can have the shadows, you know, get them the information about the cadence to move into the basement.
send a message to go down these stairs and just keep walking, despite what you see? Like something
Well,
like that. Like,
I can
And
have the shadows themselves, if you wish. They could be guides. You would pose them to be servants. We could stagger these various servants, showing them to. I don't. It doesn't sound like it would be unusual for guests to be moving about the different levels of the manor.
no, it certainly seems likely.
However, you wish the shadows to perform, they'd be more than happy to. Keep in mind, each one is a trained and skilled spy, infiltrator, member of espionage combatants. They can achieve complex tasks.
so they're good at their job.
I would think so.
Indubitably.
Yeah. We could assign them to, I'm sorry, to follow certain guests to make sure that nothing happens to them, and that they're informed at the proper time. And we could also have us keep an eye on them We could have Rowan keep an eye on someone. We could have Holden keep an eye on someone.
That's already been established, Ludwig.
Okay.
We've already done that.
Apologies for being myself.
So unless right now there's anything else we need to do with the physical security of the building, we should go. Unless anybody else has anything that they need to do.
No.
Here's a possible idea. Cross. But I've spoken the idea of having two shadows down below in the basements waiting. Would it be possible to have you waiting down there too?
Is there a reason he's going to be the you're actually doing the talking, aren't you? Our auctioneer?
It would yes, it would make sense to have him with the guests down there. Perhaps it could be possible.
Adrian's going to say, with all due respect, your group is skilled at the art of speaking and such. Perhaps it might be a better use of your people to be up here where most of the speaking and eloquence is performed, and then move to the basement when that is the new stage of eloquence, shall we say. My people are more than capable of keeping an eye on the space in the meantime, if you wish.
Fair to say also, if I am a part of the guest list, my absence, if you are all present, will be noted.
That's the other.
I feel like we're starting to micromanage this, and it's going to get out of control. We're going to get scope creep, and that's not going to be helpful. If there's nothing else to be done with the physical security of the building.
Okay, is there anything else with the physical security of the building that we need to change? Beyond having the windows locked, having all potentially secret exits or entrances been made aware of?
All of these things.
Adrian will say, I will tell you what. Allow me to position the shadows with the guidelines you have given. Manage security as House Fjarlin is best capable of doing so. And if you have specific requests, feel free to make them with me. But I will be sure to balance security with subtlety so as not to tip off the army.
We trust your very capable acumen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again, Adrian.
You better say goodbye to the warlord. I expect you would consider it rude, just Irish goodbye, whatever an Irish means.
A Brailish goodbye.
Goodbye.
An Elden reaches goodbye. So, a Fey goodbye. And he will, and Adrian will say, he'll go with you guys. And you guys can all go to the main room where the warlord is sort of pointing around and saying, I want the best, I said. And then you guys all come over and says, I liked all done with my estate then. You're going to be heading off. Won't see you until tomorrow night.
We look forward to seeing you. Your estate is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for saying so.
We thank you again for your time and your estate, Warlord, your Mordak.
Excellent. Well, you're quite welcome. Well, I'll be seeing you. Remember, you all have a +1, and it is a masquerade, so you don't need to tell anyone who you are. And he'll kind of look at you, Rowan. Well, no, you don't have a... No, never mind, I take it back. I think it would be Holden, actually. He says, Holden, what kind of accent are you displaying right now?
Holden is actually using his natural Holden accent. So it would be Ondarian.
Yeah, he'll turn to you and he'll say, I might suggest you work on at least trying to dampen that accent of yours. I don't expect many of my guests will appreciate our Ondarian sensibilities.
Understood. I will try to sound a little more combative.
Good. I wouldn't want my guests put off. Very well, I will see you soon. Remember, dress well. Yeah. and he will go back to work. And as you all leave, Adrian will have a last word with you, and he says, "I want to put a final note of warning. We're going to have Thorani present, and it makes me nervous because whereas House Fjarlin have people who are specifically designated to the entertainment side of the house, and others who are specifically designated to the house, well, both maybe, everyone in Thorani dabbles in espionage. So every dancer, every musician, they're at least in some sense capable information gatherers. So I just I advise caution is all. Thorani is they're sharp. Just be careful."
So, would you suggest we have cover stories for why we're here?
No, I would just suggest not talking to them at all if you can help it, and simply say that you're a guest. The Warlord's function. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
Okay. And wait, which time will the ball begin?
I imagine, as most balls do, when the sun begins to set, and you could probably be here before, considering you have your own organizational purposes.
All right.
Dusk till dawn is the famous saying when it comes to such events, so
Okay.
maybe an hour or two before dusk would be fitting.
Perhaps or at dusk would be also fitting. Good luck, Adrian.
Well, I'm not going to disappear just yet. I have the rest of the day, and I'll be around tomorrow.
Feels like we'll see you tomorrow. And I guess we're off.
I assume we're taking the carriage back to
I will
the.
be getting back in the
Yeah.
carriage with you there, Viceroy.
That's what I was
Unless
thinking.
you don't want me to, I can
Oh,
always
I thought
walk.
you.
No, please
I thought.
join us in the carriage.
He gets into the carriage with you guys. As you guys make your way back to the King's Grace, I'm going to say it's getting late. Holden, you already had a date planned, so we will do that before we close off the day, but I'll say that the rest of the other contacts may become unavailable, and you can complete those tomorrow. As I do want to probably get the ball in by next session, so we'll probably want to finish off any arrangements by the end of this session. So we're going to go to a break. We'll come back in 15 minutes. Holden will finish up your meeting with Lyrandar, and then we will do final preparations for the next day afterward. Yes, Cross.
If you want to speed this along, I'm planning to just turn down Thrash outright. If you want to just speed over that to save time,
why don't you
I'm
make
fine with
me? Yeah, why don't we just call it roll me a quick persuasion check, just to see how lightly you let him down, basically.
22.
22. He's pretty pissed, but he doesn't stop his feet or throw you in the wall or nothing like that. He swallows it and sort of understands your closed book and will excuse himself.
Cool.
Yep. Good job. Okay. Yep. Break. 15 minutes. We'll be right back.
Okay.
how I deal with that.
We go on the offense.
Offense with Fisk, he has the law and the FBI on his side. And it's not like we've heard a statement from the DA condemning his release. No, nothing to jeopardize Blake Tower's reelection. They throw a pair.
Oh, that could work.
Blake Tower growing pair?
Now think about it. The best way to protect yourself from Fisk is to make noise. Is to be out in the open.
Oh, like a public execution?
Like a public call to action. Right? If Blake Tower won't do anything to stop this, then run against him. For district attorney. If you're already a target, you might as well be the first person to take a swing. I'm serious. The more public, the more you're protected.
There's no way I can win.
Of course not.
Thank you for the confidence. Anyways, we're light years past the deadline.
And others are right. You based your candidacy on a single issue. Putting Fisk back behind bars. Get back a few votes. You're not enough to win, but you get the issue out there. Plus, you'd make a few friends in the NYPD, and it's not the worst thing for a defense attorney. Or you could keep checking the logs. I don't know that I start working on this plane. After coffee. You're fine. My wallet.
Hey, you pay with card because cash is better. Wait for me. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Well, you're busy. I have an appointment with my client. I called earlier. Should be on the ID. On my watch. You can call one. Without picture ID, I can't get it. One second. Sir, please step aside. This is my New York bar number. Now, it's not picture ID, I know, but it did take 7 years and it cost me $300,000 in student loans. Is it, buy me anything? Name. Nelson. Franklin Nelson. Something. Even if it is a Sure, you're one. I'm sorry, I should have said should. Try not to curse. And what's the point of me getting mad here in 2 months with a degree in psychology, top of my class? So what other goddamn fail? Here we go. 16 years. That's not the money you mentioned, huh? First of all, I just need to apply. We're not working together. No, it sucks. Yeah. I don't want anyone even thought, that I was here. So, yeah, working works it out. Not a long time ago, low level stuff, mostly just running. But there, often section here. Paint. Introduction. Somebody needs a defense lawyer. I'll make sure to pass your name along. Rolling review, but folks in the air. Murder and bastards. This is not an introduction to Vic history. Nobody gets in with Vic. You can't make it happen. What do you want? Oh. Fine, you can say that on an instant. Liability reasons. Can't let you leave until you sign one. Yeah. Follow me. How much you spend every month on subscriptions? They only have like 2 or 3. That's what we all think. In reality, there's so much more that we don't even know we're paying for. So how do I put more of this cash back in my pocket? Rocket Money is a financial app that shows you every subscription you're paying for. But isn't that one you forgot about from 5 years ago? So, if we will still pay, I'll post it. Whoa. With Rocket Money, you can cancel it for you. Yep. All you have to do is tap a few buttons and they take care of it. Download Rocket Money today. Hills is a fantastic line. Hims makes me feel prepared and comfortable for dating. Hims makes me feel confident. I went to hims.com and there was a lot of different options to fit my lifestyle. I was shocked at actually how affordable it was going to be. It's allowed more spontaneity and allowed us to be more playful with each other. No matter what happens at the end of the day, I know I'm ready because I have Hims. It's a safe and simple way to get my medication. Get treatment for ED with doctor trusted medication. Get started today at hims.com. There's a new hero at Topgolf, and that hero is you. Score anywhere. All the Topgolf experience.
When my hair started to thin, I wasn't feeling so confident.
I stopped hanging out with the guys because I didn't want to hear the wisecracks.
I was reasonable because I had seen that it worked with my friend. Nutrafol really takes the time to do the research, to do the clinical studies, and I really respect how it works from the inside out.
Nutrafol was able to bring my hair back to life, and it keeps getting thicker and fuller. It felt real good to dish that.
Your growth starts from the inside at Nutrafol.com. Mouthwash and some leftover toner.
Thanks. I'm sorry. It's gonna be like this all week.
Honestly, at least your face looks fancy.
Fine. Okay. Is Danny?
He's in the car killing aliens on the phone.
Oh, I'd love to see him.
We'll get started as soon as everyone's back at the table.
Great.
Woohoo!
Wait for my sisters. Sammy's gonna stay there for a couple of days.
Sammy has that.
One that he can't sleep in.
What's going on?
He's sick. He's doing something wrong.
I'm fine.
Oh, are you? Good thing. Yes, my alcohol.
I'll talk to him when I get home.
I can stop. I think it's stop it. What's your heart?
Four to five will do. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Spooky, spooky music. Okay, you guys finish rattling all by on the carriage and come to the King's Grace once more. Adrian hops out, and you guys can all enter back into the fine estate. You have about 24 hours to complete your, getting ready. Holden, you probably continue on with the carriage. And continue on to wherever wherever you would have liked to have met up with your nighttime companion. Where do you think you're meeting up with her?
Yeah, before that, I would just mention before I left, I guess I would mention to Lois that I'm going to go now and speak to the representative from Islander. I'll suggest to her the possibility of a meeting in the morning between the two representatives.
Seems a reasonable approach. My point of contact was available for a morning meeting this morning, so
Fantastic. All right, I will suggest that then, and hopefully we can put that together. All right, and then I don't know, somewhere a nice comfortable dinner somewhere a little on the more posh side, on the chic side.
All right, a little somewhere a little chic. We'll say that you guys go to the Nightingale Restaurant, which is in the Temple District. And it is indeed a very fine, very chic restaurant, and has a nice view of some of the beautiful architecture of some of the temples. You meet her there. She is in a beautiful dinner gown, beautiful enough to change the music over. And well, at least the restaurant is, but she's also like super hot. Don't worry about it. Many people there are having a nice meal and a good time. We'll say that she arrives a little bit after you, fashionably late as it were. And you sit down at the nice table, and it is a little bit busier here, somewhere a little bit more chic. So let's have some fun with. Let's have a little fun with thieves' can. Why don't we?
Oh, okay.
If you want. If you want.
Yeah. So, as you know, there are a number of let me get the right one. There are a number of individuals who are looking for this particular dish of pork. However, I believe I've managed to secure you a dinner guest.
I do like going to dinner.
And so,
What's this person's name?
Oh, I'm actually. It turns out that we should be able to meet them in the morning. A friend of mine has set up a little meet and greet between the two of us, so that we can talk about a bit of a business venture.
I see. Very well. Do I get to know who this dinner guest is?
Um, and he kind of like very kind of pointedly, but quietly, rubs his eye to try and indicate that it's someone from the eyes.
Ah, okay, I see. Uh, yeah, unfortunately the can't don't go that deep, but
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think she catches on. Um, she will say, uh, "Oh, I know what she's gonna do." Okay. Um, let's see here. Um, mm, okay, she'll kind of, and she'll go, "Oh, that person from On Dare," and she'll kind of like swap a ring off of her finger onto her right ring finger and kind of twirl it around.
All right.
Or that's not, I guess that's not technically right.
Well, yes.
I guess kind of.
He'll get it. Yeah, and he'll definitely nod to some degree. Exactly, you know them. Um, an acquaintance from a while back, I imagine. Definitely someone that we would want to welcome most warm. I do think that there's the considerable possibility um, that they have some grandchildren who might be in the right place to assist you with your interests tomorrow evening.
Grandchildren.
Page
I'm all over it. I'm all over it. I'm gonna find it. Don't worry. Or are you getting creative on?
Yeah, I'm trying to mix it in a little bit.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. Okay, yeah, I got you. She goes, oh, she says, interesting. I think this is amenable. Makes sense to me.
I looked for others. It turns out that everyone has their own interests in mind, and more of our guests than I would have preferred. Although, yeah, decided that they would prefer to order the mutton ahead of.
Mutton. Oh, mutton. Goes, oh, unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Well,
However,
so no other, and that's all. There's no other potential dinner guests right here.
no other potential dinner guests that I'm aware of. All the others opted out. Um, however, I do expect it to be a relatively intimate gathering, and I would expect that our that the evening should be most enjoyable.
I do need you to make me. Uh, I guess you didn't technically learn that. Because the Rashk did say that they were willing to do whatever was necessary. But I don't think you got that
Yeah,
information.
no, I did.
Um,
I did probe for that, but Frost didn't specifically mention that. He talked about Thresh, but he didn't offer them up as a partner. So
Got it. Yeah, that's right. Okay, fantastic. In that case, make a persuasion check to persuade her that the Eyes of Fonder are the only people that you're aware of who are willing to work with anybody else.
that was an unnecessary natural 20 for a 27.
She will sort of nod and say, "Hmm." She'll look a little skeptical, but eventually be sort of persuaded, and she says, "Hmm, it's a shame. It's a shame there aren't more house guests that are more open-minded, or dinner guests, I suppose."
Unfortunately, it seems that many of the invited dinner guests have quite the same appetite, and not many were um, willing to be talked into other menu items. Unfortunately. However, I think we're still sitting in good standing. Um, there are other factors at play in the kitchen, and be they desserts or be they entrees, I think we'll have it most enjoyable.
Indeed. At which point you guys like get some food and uh, you know order some food, and she definitely um, maybe almost humorously um, takes an interest in the venison
Yeah.
and purchases something, as they are very very proteins based here in Carnathia would be on the menu, so she'll almost humorously purchase some, or get him something with venison.
Yeah.
And you guys can continue the night. Is there anything else you'd want to talk to her about, or you just have an enjoyable dinner?
No, just having an enjoyable dinner. Yeah, he would try to be as charming and friendly with her as possible. He's still, trying to get across this idea that he's on her side and acting as sort of her, broker, her individual broker in this particular um, auction. So, yeah, just trying to win good favor, essentially.
Got it.
And he would offer to pick her up in the morning for breakfast for this meeting.
She says, "Please do." She'll and yeah, eventually you'll put her on a carriage, and she will return back to where she's going. And Holden's out there being the ultimate spy, just like taking a beautiful woman to dinner and making plans. Definitely raising eyebrows in a positive way around. Who is that man? Who's that charming man? Beautiful women on the song. Very incredible. Very good job. Okay, beautiful. If there's nothing else, yeah, cross you go. You let down Thrash as easy as you can. It comes to a polite halt. Yeah, morning comes. You all rise in the morning. I believe, yes, Viceroy Cross, or Ludwig, excuse me.
Yeah, I was actually going to speak with Rowan actually after Holden left. Yeah, Lewis, did you say something?
No, I just wanted to put out there that I was going to send a missive to Kyra, Sierra,
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
to let her know about the meeting in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, Rowan. By the way, I'm willing to offer help with the costumes. Like, you seem. Do you know where you could get them at short notice?
I'm gonna make mine.
Do you know where I can get one?
I would assume that if you went, I don't really know your city. Like if we were at home,
All right.
I would be able to tell you, look, this is a tailor that you can go to. You need to find a tailor. Tell them you're going to a masquerade. It's going to be high end.
Okay. All right. Thanks, and apologies about the warlord's bluntness.
Try to remember that you can't micromanage everything. You have to be targeted in what you try to protect when you have limited resources, right? Your resources are limited, so the simpler we keep it, the better.
I'll try to remember that.
It's fine. You're doing great. And
So just as a oh, sorry, if you wanted to continue, my apologies.
as a note, when he found her, she would have been actually designing her gown.
Got it. So I was about to put that forth. This is that new crafting rules state that you can do 10 GP of progress a day, and a fine outfit is worth 15. So yeah, if you got back and you started going to work immediately, Rowan, you could have it made like just in time for the ball. But if you have a special artificer feature that lets you craft a little quicker, that would certainly come into play here. But that might be something that's a little more down the line.
Speedcraft.
Can I help with that at all?
Are you proficient
No.
in Weaver's tools?
No.
Nor would
And-
she want you there while she was working. I mean, this is a meditative thing that she tends to do alone.
Okay.
I'm still playing the old
Yeah, which is fine.
the 2014 or whatever artificer. So I don't know what the new rules are.
I don't think a new artificer's been released. There's a homebrew guy floating around, but nothing that is official. So you're good.
All right, then she'll spend the rest of her day putting her dress together. In point of fact, I would need to do this is what I would need to do for the next 2 days, yeah? For the rest of the day and tomorrow to be able to put together an appropriate gown.
I'll be a tad generous and say when you like get off the carriage tonight, there's enough time left today to get a long rest and complete this gown, but you're gonna have to commit the rest of your waking hours leading up to the actual ball to get it completed. But yes, you will be able to get it done. Because it is 15, so it's technically like a day and a half, but we're gonna let it go. It's all good.
Yeah, but I have things I have to. I actually have things that I absolutely have to do the next day.
Got it. Then in that case, you might want to purchase something pre-made.
The hell I will.
Unless you wanted to go and say.
I'm going to make a mask.
Yeah.
Because she still has the green dress on her shift weave.
Yeah, and that's true. You could just go in something in the Ondarian style if you wished.
That wasn't what I wanted to do. Well, yeah, because I'm not going to be able to get anything made either. I wouldn't be able to design it and hand it to somebody and have it made.
Probably gonna. It's not impossible. You're gonna have to get somebody. Someone's gonna upcharge you, probably a bit to have it like, good morning. I need this done by tonight, and they're probably gonna have to bring in a whole bunch of extra people, and it's gonna be a little extra expensive. But yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Then when she got to because they're staying at the hotel that's got the big, fancy schmancy 3rd floor, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit. Yeah. In which case, she would go to whoever the concierge is and say, listen, I need a gown for tomorrow. She would show her the designs. And I'm like, look, I just need somebody who can do an amazing, exquisite job. What you got?
Yeah. And she will essentially refer you to, or the concierge, I think I had all their info down, but
yeah,
for the sake of expediency, we'll refer you to somebody. We'll refer to you to like a dressmaker in the city. And that person's probably going to charge you like, let's see here, it's going to be like 7.5 for fabric and then 2 extra. She's probably just going to charge you for something custom with the time frame. It's probably just going to charge you double. Call it like 30 gold. Be like, you want something custom done that usually takes like 2 days to make. If you want to go past the 15 gold mark, you can keep going up in price and it'll be more and more exquisite.
I will send you the design and she'll throw whatever she's got the money for it. And if Ludwig is with her, she'll bring him along.
Got it.
Let me
Well,
post
Ludwig,
this.
your what you wore in On Dare would be more than acceptable here to wear your military garb to such an event. To wear like your fine sort of military, because you have fine clothes, right, Ludwig?
Yeah, I
And
do.
those were like Karnathi military sort of.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like for parade, basically. It's like
Yep.
your
ceremony stuff.
Yeah, it's your ceremonial armor, exactly, or your ceremonial like military garb. So you could wear that here and it'll be very acceptable.
Okay.
I just posted it. Oh, sorry.
So let's
Facebook.
see right now. Facebook, thank you.
Nice dresses, Carmen.
Well, Facebook is. Oh wait, I've got a phone, which is way faster than my computer. Oh,
And of course, the
that's very
mask
Karnathi
would
of
be.
you.
That was the intention. She'll wear her hair slicked back. If you've ever seen Ariana Grande's hair, slicked back tight in a ponytail, but then straightened so it falls straight down, and the mask over her face.
Got it. Why don't you roll me, just for funsies, roll me a. Because this is like the design itself, so this is more, I feel like, an artistic check. So let's call it a performance, and since you're proficient, you can have advantage.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Be good, guys.
It is.
Oh, that's not bad at all. It's 17 on the dice. Performance 22.
22. Yeah, there's something almost like undeathly about it. Like the dark, like the dark themes with like the slight red attachment. It's almost like there's something about it that is, yeah, like very subtly like organic almost, and it's very fitting to the designs. There's something undeathly about it, and of great taste. So yeah, we'll call it 30 gold because they're backed up. You know, they got to call in extra people. They got to have it done by tonight. They got to fit you. So we'll call it 30 gold for the rush job.
Oh, and she'll pay 40.
They'll be very happy for that. We'll work hard. Excellent. Okay, moving right along. Let's hit up the Holden Lois meeting here. So, where do you guys want to have your meeting?
We'll have it downstairs here.
Fair enough. So, Holden, you take a carriage to go pick up your not date. Not that anybody knows, of course. And yeah, let's go get the two handouts. So, Curate Ear Valia, which I have just reposted, and our wonderful Lyrandar representative. Come on, Lyrandar. There you are. There we go. Two very lovely women are brought to dinner with you two. People are looking around. They're like, Holden, man, going to date with this one. There's like this Hungarian princess. There's this like hot Civis girl. Like, what the hell? So you guys all find yourselves at dinner. The music very intense, and I guess that was intentional, but we're just going to keep the tension high because it's Karnath and it feels a little tense. But you all sit down for dinner, or you'll show up Holden. But we'll start with Lois, where she just kind of sits down before you have showed up Holden with your quote-unquote date. And Syrah will say, I'm trying to decide if she's Kira or I'm going to say Syrah because of like Siri. She'll say, Viceroy Loisana, it is good to speak to you again.
And to you. Since we have a brief moment before my counterpart shows up, I thought I would give you a quick what's forthcoming.
I appreciate that.
House Leandar is looking for a bid partner. And based on what was ascertained from the other bidders, it seemed like there may be a mutually benefit union between their needs and your needs
I see.
in that regard. Um,
Hmm.
so that's the meeting we're fostering here. My fellow House Leora partner Holden is bringing his House Leander contact here. And we'll see if there's a space for that union. The uh, the my thought to the matter is that you're in a mutually overlapped space. As long as you folks get the information, who publicly presents it is of lesser worth. Where House Leandar frankly needs a win publicly to walk back some of the damage that's been done. House Denise show of solidarity in Undare is one thing, but being able to make a public proof of concern and effort um, is a face saver for them. Um, it struck me that unlike some of the other bidders, you folks are not necessarily at cross purposes with regards to exclusivity of the information and the need to put a public face on the win.
It's true. It's true. House Slyrandar has always been a fast ally of Ondair. They're headquartered in Stormreach, which is in Ondair. So I think this is fair. Two long-standing allies brought to the table together. Good thinking. I'm sure we will come to some solution.
That's my hope. The
May
other
May I put to you something very quickly?
No, certainly.
The reason, as I'm sure you can imagine, there's any number of nations who might have been interested to get their hands on this information to manipulate on there. We're lucky that Fjarlin was kind enough to not go that route. But why the Eyes of Ondair wish to have this information is because, well, we want to look good for the Queen. We are the eyes and ears of Ondair, and we want to remain relevant to Ondarian spycraft and not to look incompetent. So naturally, we want to look good. We have always gone to Fjarlin for good information. That's where we stand. Perhaps there is indeed some way where we can all get what we want out of this.
That's my hope. And that's what it seems we are in a position to foster.
Excellent.
I have taken the other item that we discussed at our last meeting uh, into concerns. I've talked about it with the other members of House Leora, and we will certainly keep our eyes and ears open, particularly in light of some of the recent rumors. Do you have any idea if those are true?
The recent rumors. You mean the ones
Yes,
about, I see.
the border skirmish.
The border skirmish. She would know, wouldn't she? She would say, I don't have all of the information, but there was a skirmish. I received some report about there was some duel. Again, I don't have all of the information. My attention has been mostly drawn towards this auction, but if it was important, if it was aid, I could perhaps retain some more from my contacts.
It was a point of concern since it's been floating around the rumor mill. And
It is, as far as I know, it's not been anything of such intensity that it threatens to reignite the last war, if that's of any concern. A concern amongst younger noblemen is what I believe some of the reports stated.
That's less dire than what was presented in the material that I heard, which is fantastic. I'm pleased to hear that it was less dire. To that end, we have the grace of the warlord's property for while we're there. He will be entertaining several prominent donors as part of that affair. So hopefully there will be some useful information available associated to that.
Understood. At this point, Holden, did you want to have a word with your contact before arriving, or is it very simple, like you're going to meet with the Eyes von Der? Or
yeah, yeah, I think it's just very simple until we get everybody together.
Yeah, and you already told her last night. So we'll say at this point, Holden, yes, you do arrive with Melisara de Lyrandar on your arm, to which I'm sure everybody rises. You may all make introductions.
Everyone, the beautiful Melisara de Lyrandar.
And she will sort of politely curtsy. And I presume, Lois, that you introduce your...
absolutely.
Yeah, yourself and your companion as well. So yeah, don't worry, we don't need to go through the whole process. You all introduce yourselves. Very polite introductions, everyone knows everyone's name. You all sit down, food is ordered, and Sira will say, well, it's very good to meet you, Melisara, if I may call you that. And she will say, so long as I can call you Syria, or Sira. And Sira will say, that is perfectly fine. As it seems that we are to work together to find some kind of alliance about how to make the auction work in both of our favors. So, why don't we put our cards on the table that perhaps we've both figured out about each other by now, and figure out what it is we both want out of this auction. So, in good faith, I will go first. The Eyes of Onder want to look good before the Queen. We want to show that we are able to acquire information reliably and pass that along to Onder. And Melisara says, makes complete sense. We at Lyrandar quite obviously want to save face after the Golden Dragon incident. A lot of blame has been placed on us in the public eye, so we want to very publicly be seen looking good and making good on past perceived mistakes. And the Cirrus is very good. So, how can we both get what we want? They both sort of think, and Melisara will say, well, it seems to me that we both want recognition in two different spaces. You want your recognition privately, and we want our recognition publicly. So, how best to facilitate that? Would the Queen be amenable to, say, you purchasing the information firsthand, and then passing it off to Lyrandar, so that we might present it publicly? And there's going to be a persuasion check between these two. Oh, shit. Syrah looks unconvinced by Melisara on an unfortunate natural one on her roll. She says, this is fair. I don't know if the Queen would be appeased by just that. It may be better if we present the information first, then ask permission to hand it up to Lyrandar. And Melisar will say, well, that's not really enough, is it? That we're going to back you potentially financially throughout the whole process and have a fleeting possibility that the Queen will grant us the information in the end. Doesn't seem a good enough assurance for backing you with so much funds to outweigh Kenneth. I kind of look a little at an impasse. Would either of you wish to interject?
Yeah. What if House Lyrandar is to take on the bulk of the purchase, and only then the eyes would simply be responsible for helping to kind of cover the gap that Lyrandar needs in order to win the auction. And in this case, Lyrandar takes on that larger financial risk, but again gets their public recognition that they're after in order to um, repair the damage done to their, as it were, brand. In the meantime, Lyrandar perhaps is willing to support the claim by the eyes to the Queen, to the royal family. But the eyes were actually the group responsible for tracking down and securing the information, and we divulge the plan of the public ruse to the royal family, but at less risk to the eyes themselves.
Syrah says, so you propose that the Eyes of Ondair make it seem like we pointed Lyrandar at the information.
Exactly. And Lyrandar in front of the, not publicly, not completely publicly, but in front of the royal family, Lyrandar agrees to support that claim.
Melisara will say Lyrandar will be more than happy to, in private, be happy to support this, as I'm sure the Eyes of Ondair wish for this to remain private. We'll be more than happy to indeed support the idea that we were pointed at it by the Eyes. Perhaps, so long as it's made known that it wasn't handed to us to appear. We want the public to I'll tell you what, Holden. At this point, make me a persuasion check.
Yep.
See if we can point all of this where it needs to go.
19.
19. Very good. Milisara says, "No, this could work. As I said, we are purely interested in the view of the public. We want Lyrandar to continue, Lyrandar to look good to the public, so that we continue to be looked well upon. So, of course, Ondare can feel good about continuing to purchase Lyrandar services, and the public can too." Sierra says, "So then it's just a matter of if the Queen would be appeased with our actions. So, would the Queen feel this sufficient? And why, may I ask, is the Eyes of Ondare giving Lyrandar this information out of the kindness of our hearts?"
Well,
I believe.
by all means, Holden. I think the preceding relationship between the Royal House of Ondare and House Lyandar is well accepted and well understood, and that a injury to such a prominent partner also damages the royal house by proxy, and being able to help them restore their good name gives some quiet capital to the royal family, and from them to the Eyes of Ondare, in furtherance of that strategic partnership. That seems like the most significant boon. Perhaps my counterpart Holden has a different thought on the matter, but that's what immediately occurs to me.
No, very, very similar indeed. And in addition, perhaps there's a valuable and acknowledged nobility in the idea of you know, generosity and the goodwill of helping House Lyrandar, who, by all accounts, suffered most egregiously from this attack, to get back on their feet and to reestablish their good name with the public along there.
You may both make a persuasion check, or one of you at advantage.
Go ahead, Tolan.
Okay, thank you. $22.
Sierra sort of sits back in her seat, and she says, "It's true. Lyrandar has been a dragon-marked house who has marked themselves as our largest trade partner in the last 2 years, while we prepare our fleet of airships. The Queen did just put to rest the rumor that Lyrandar would be responsible." Milisara says, "If you're trying to understand the mind of your queen, Sierra, may I suggest that if the people of Ondare, the military of Ondare, people at her court feel Lyrandar is irresponsible or not good at their job, it doesn't just jeopardize future business plans, but it also jeopardizes the entire fleet that Lyrandar has made for Ondare. It is in the Queen's best interest that Lyrandar saves face. To take such an initiative as to give us the information after everything is said and done, it's in the best interest of the Queen, the royal court in Ondare itself." Sierra sort of begins to nod her head. She says, "Very well. This is a good point. Okay, very well. Let us do this together. But comes the question of who is going to be the successful bidder between the two of us if either of us can't do the job. Melisara will say, well, I think, admittedly, it makes sense that the Eyes of Ondair are the ones who are successful in the bid. If this is to be a private success versus a public one, so perhaps in private here at the auction you might be successful, and then pass it on to us once you gather the information. We would be willing to back you. And Sierra says, very well. Why don't me and you discuss the details of finances in private, and then we can understand our bidding strategy together. And Melisara says, I couldn't agree more. And they will nod at each other. And Melos... Oh, yeah, go ahead, Holden.
Out of curiosity, ladies, who do you envision will be acting upon the information once it's received?
Sierra says that is an excellent question. Looks across the table at Melisara. And Sierra will say, well, I expect Lady de Lyrandar would wish us to hand over the information before the Queen is made known, just to secure and ensure that you have gained the information altogether. Melisara says, yes, it would be unfortunate if the Queen, for whatever reason, was to block it. Sierra says, but if the Queen blocks it, then... Melisara says, we've made a deal, haven't we? Perhaps we should sign something on paper. And Sierra says, I don't know how well a piece of paper Simon wrote is going to be sufficient at the end of the day, as this is considered technically an illegal bid if this was brought to public court. I mean, the courts would have a field day, wouldn't they? Let alone the papers.
Right. The honoring of the deal is why the four of us are here now. Truly, the spirit of House Leora is that we're intended, Lois and not Lady Viceroy Lois and I, are intended to sit in on these things to act not only as mediators, but as witnesses.
Witnesses to execution.
Melisara will say, how can you ensure execution from the highest volunteer?
I will turn to Syrah and use command. Raise your hand.
I love this shit. What's your
And
DC?
I will use one of my portent dice to make her die roll a 4.
Okay, big man. Okay. She raises a hand. Easy enough. And kind of looks at it like the hand is kind of taken on a mind of its own in an initial surprise. I'll tell you what. Make me a persuasion or intimidation check at advantage, so you've backed up your claim.
Yeah, they're just straight flat rolls. Either of them. 16.
16. Melisara says, okay. Okay, very good. Well, I think it would still give me a level of confidence so that I can go back to my house, and it would make me more comfortable if we all signed something regardless of public implications. I don't intend to use it, but I hope you understand me covering my own ass. And
I certainly can understand that. I mean, it's nothing that would hold up in a court anywhere, but it would certainly prove politically embarrassing, and that may be sufficient to guarantee performance.
Indeed, and it also gives me something to bring back to House Lyrandar should this alliance go sour. Syrah agrees. And we'll say a pen and paper is brought to the table.
Lois already has them.
You already have them. Fantastic. I will say that Syrah says perhaps the former lady of House Civis should be the one to create this document, if that is all right.
And more importantly, there will be the overt document will be these parties are to meet after at place X type of document. The illusionary script underneath it, of which I am including the four of us as the only people who can read it, is the more in-depth detail.
Yeah, and we don't need to go into crazy detail about what it is, but essentially what will be agreed upon by the two ladies in wanting is that there is an agreement that the Eyes of Onder will hand over the information of the auction once it's been received and before it's been delivered to the Queen. And then both parties will agree to the same true story, which is that the Eyes of Onder are helping House Lyrandar save face, and House Lyrandar's authenticating that it was Eyes of Onder who initially gained the information and are handing it along to help Lyrandar save face. Basically the plan, the intricacies of the plan, but also leaving Fjarlin out of the documentation so as not to potentially. Okay, excellent. Why don't you write me, Lois, I'll let you choose if you want to use intelligence or charisma. It is your choice, but we're going to call it a charisma check. Or, an investigation check to be thorough.
It will absolutely be intelligence.
Fair enough.
And I got to a 10. I rolled a 2.
Oh, that's rough. It's a little rough. Okay. You create this document. It is not too fancifully worded. You've never been in charge of, you're a writer, but you've never been in charge of legal documentation before, so this one's a little offside for you. So it has the important information in it, but it's not too legally worded, which might not matter considering that this document's nobody really wants this to see the light of day, so to speak. But yeah, it serves the purpose and it has worded well to the satisfaction of both ladies. Excellent. If that's the case, Melisara and Syrah will shake hands and will agree that this should remain in the hands of House Leora. They both like a copy. If that is all right, if you wouldn't mind scribing it.
Oh, not at all. Happy to do so. And make sure that we let them both know, because I didn't mention it to Syrah. It is a masquerade gala.
They will shake hands and they will ask to have the rest of their dessert together in private, so they may talk bidding strategy. And Melisara will say, well, thank you very much for bringing this little alliance together. I think we're going to be most successful.
We're happy to be your
Glad
brokers.
that worked out.
Syrah will say the same. Thank you both. House Leora has been most kind in this. As it wraps up, before you two both go, both ladies are going to sort of catch either of you. And Sierra, I think, is going to take one of her earrings out and is going to hand it to you, Lois. And it's going to have a very subtle sort of like a little bird in there in the golden earring. It's a very subtle nod to Ondair. And this is going to serve as a token of favor, as you have sort of heightened your relationship with Sierra for having arranged this, and heightened your bond with it. And similarly for you, Holden, Melisara, I think, is, because apparently she's got a chain vibe. It's her whole deal. She's going to like she's going to unattach one of these, and it's almost like a chain bangle from her wrist, and she's going to hand you this like chain bangle. And both of them give them to you as tokens of favors. You've both increased your bond. And we'll say your relationships with these two ladies have basically become like trusted contact. And that can change and evolve as you wish. But that's, you guys have both earned tokens of favor.
All right. Fantastic.
Excellent. So with that, we will call the session to an end. If there's any last little things that need to be done before the ball, we are happy to handle those next session. But I will be like putting a strict, we will be getting to the ball next week at mid-game at the very latest. So we will have time to get some last little things done, but we will absolutely be getting to the masquerade next session. And thank you all for playing. I hope you had a good time.